Gold. You can't deny the fact that you are growing old.
Yo, what is up? My name is Patches. Welcome back to the channel if you've been here before. If not, welcome for the first time. I do videos about a lot of stuff. In today's video, I want to talk a little bit about porn and a little bit about a game plan when it comes to the recovery out of porn. This is something that's been going on in my head for quite a while now. The last couple months I've been going to therapy and then just reaching out to a bunch of people that are a lot smarter than me to help me through my own personal recovery. And there's one thing that I've heard a lot, and I think a lot of you have heard the term, and like the porn is just the tip of the iceberg. Like that term of, oh, your problem is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much underneath. And of course, I think that's very true. The problem is, I think we leave it at that. And then it's like, that's a good point. What do I do about it? You know? So here's what we do about it.
It's too late now to turn around and back again. I made my bed and now I lay my head in it.
Okay, so like I said before, I think a lot of us have heard of the saying porn or any kind of struggle is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much underneath that we have to pay attention to. So I think the best way to show this is on my whiteboard. And no, you are not allowed to comment anything about my drawing abilities. I was really good at drawing in like 4th grade. And then everybody learned how to pick up a pencil. So if we're looking from this angle of, say we're out of the water and we're just looking across the water, all we'll be able to see is this iceberg. I think this is exactly how we see our lives a lot. I know in my experience that has been the case. I've just looking across my life and I'm like, porn. Pretty much my whole problem in life is porn. And that's the only thing I focus on. But taking a step back, looking at this porn problem as a whole, once we start looking at the full iceberg, that's when we realize porn is just a small aspect to this problem that we have. Turns out we're a lot more messed up than we think. I'm kidding, joking, kind of not though. So when we look at this iceberg, let's start putting names to it. Yeah, we see the name on the very top, which is porn. Well, let's break this iceberg down into sections, into things that I can clearly see that I need to work on. So when we're developing a game plan to get out of porn, it can be very daunting. It can be, how am I not supposed to watch this thing that I've been addicted to for 10 plus years or 5 years or 1 year, whatever it is. It can be very disheartening, especially when you start the journey and then you fall, and then you restart and then you fall, then you restart and then you fall. Then it's, how am I supposed to keep moving forward when I just keep falling? And so it gets really frustrating. So if you've been to this channel before, then you know I love game plans. So this is just another way for me to set up a game plan for my recovery. And for me, it has helped a lot because I'm such a visual person. I love being able to see these different aspects, point out something that I need to work on, and then go do it. We need to start separating it because it's hard. You can't really break apart an iceberg by just randomly swinging as hard as you can into the middle of the iceberg. Like, you're not really going to get too far. So we have to identify what are some things that we need to work on in our own life leading up to the removal of porn. Studies have shown that finance, if you're struggling with finances, that's a bunch of anxiety and worry that is entering into your life, and then that can lead to porn. So maybe it's finance. Maybe it's alcohol, that when you have more than 3 drinks a night, you end up falling to porn. So maybe it's alcohol. So let's put alcohol down. Maybe it's just you being lazy. That's something that leads you to porn. Now, before we go any further, I want to make it clear that this bottom of the iceberg, we're not just picking bad things in our life and trying to rip them out of our life. We're also going to be picking good, healthy things for ourselves that we need to just work on. So it's not necessarily just the stuff that we have to get rid of in our lives, but we want to always be moving forward and making ourselves better. So it's not just about the removal of everything, but it's about adding on and becoming a freaking awesome person. So maybe a part of this iceberg is working out. Maybe it's your eating. Maybe something you have to work on is the amount of screen time that you have in a day. Maybe you need to focus on your prayer, your meditation, adding more minutes of meditation and prayer throughout your day, every day. I just want you to know that pretty much everything that I'm putting up here in this iceberg are things that are a part of my recovery plan. So I'm not just throwing random stuff out here. So I would advise look at these things, and maybe that's something that you have to work on too, or want to remove from your life, you know? So maybe silence is something we need to work on. Maybe staying up way too late and then expecting ourselves to somehow wake up at 6 a.m. every day, and we get pissed at ourselves when we don't wake up at that time. And just to let you know, there's no part of this that are the way I filled the bottom of this iceberg out does not mean that some things are more important than other things. So now that we have all of these things listed out right in front of us in our iceberg, now we can start doing the work. So I love to picture this as I'll take a pickaxe, which took me like 30 times over to draw. For some reason, it's really hard for me to draw a pickaxe, or say it, whatever. Okay, so we take it and then we look at a certain area. Okay, so it's hard to take all of these things and just expect myself to fix all of them in a day or a week or a month or even a year in some cases. We just can't expect to put a timeline to the development of my whole self. Okay? Because that's what this is a development of self. So I got to go one at a time or two at a time. So in my personal life, I realized that finance was a huge thing. I mean, if you follow me at all, you know the last like 3 years, I haven't had a steady job. I've been doing like summer camps that pay like a nickel an hour. And so I realized that finance was a worry for me. And so I need to pay attention to it. And the way I paid attention to finance is I have to be tracking everything. I have to track how much I'm spending, how much I'm making. And then it's just that relief. Even though I'm not by saying I'm working on finance does not mean I'm making a whole bunch more money. It means that I'm paying attention to where my money's going and where my money is coming in. And that in itself has helped so much. And so once I think I have a good idea of how I can keep that consistent in my life, of consistently following a financial plan, I chip it off. I chip that off my iceberg. That makes my iceberg a little bit smaller. And then I can focus on my alcohol. How much am I having to drink? Is 4 drinks a night too much for me? Is 1 glass too much for me? Maybe I just need to cut it off completely. Well, let's work on that. Let's get consistent and keep that into moderation. Now I can focus on how much screen time I'm allowing in the day. Am I on Instagram way too long? If so, let's tone that back. Let's be more productive with it, whatever it be. Okay, and then again, adding things. It's not about taking everything away, but adding a workout plan, adding healthy eating, and then adding some silence to my day. What am I doing to meditate? What am I doing to pray? How are my relationships? Are they solid? And then we start picking and picking and picking and picking. And then we realize porn doesn't have such a huge hold on us as we thought. Porn is very small when it doesn't have all of this baggage dragging behind it. When we cut off the baggage little by little, when we cut off the ice little by little, we realize that porn's a lot smaller of a problem than we thought. And so porn drifts away. And then we have a nice open ocean. But I don't want to stop here in this little iceberg scenario, because that's not what it's about. It's not about just having a nice level ocean with no icebergs. It's about way more than that. It's about the development of myself, of yourself. Because if you get rid of porn but you're still a crappy human being, what is it all for? If I can't scuba, what is this all for, you know? What I want to point out is, while you're working on finance, while I'm working on my eating habits, having a better workout routine, having more silence throughout my day, not drinking so much alcohol, while I'm working on that, it's not about just ripping porn out of my life. But if I take the step back and really look at it, I can see this mountain growing. I can see this full person building. I can see myself as a person building up, creating great habits. And as I think it's from Sean, the who's the Fast and Furious? What is that? Sean Hobbs? I think it's called that. I've never seen it. I just heard a bit from it that said a dark tattooed mountain of a man or something like that. So literally that's what we're building is, well, you don't have to be dark or have tattoos. Or you don't have to be a man. You are just building this mountain of a dope human. And all of that started from a porn addiction. The biggest point that I want to make on this video is, it's not about getting porn out of your life. And I really, really want to help myself and you pay attention to the good parts of recovery. Pay attention to the fact that not a lot of people have to focus every single day on these small little parts that are building you. It's more about the personal development throughout your recovery. Not so much how fast you got out of it or when you got out of it, but it's about the personal recovery. Because like it's shown here in my beautiful drawing, through this recovery, you become just a freaking awesome person.